Game on. Team White. Let's try knight f3 to start. Alright, let's go with d4. My opponent's moving quick here. How will black defend? e6, c6, or takes? Something else? No. I'm gonna go queen b3. Queen b3, knight c6. I could also play knight c3 and on d takes c play a4. I don't want to weaken my b4 square though. Okay. Well, I think for starters, definitely want my knight out. Have to be a little bit careful. I've done this before, bishop f4 on my next move, and then there's d takes c, and if I'm recapturing, I'm dropping on b2. So I might have to be a little bit cautious about bringing the bishop out before resolving this tension here between the pawns. So maybe I'll want to consider c5 to give the queen a kick. I'm fine with queen takes queen. It gives my queen some play. And I think I'm going to run with that right now. Let's see. Oh, the ratings aren't even showing up on this game. I don't know why. c5. That's weird. c5 and if queen takes queen, pawn takes, of course. Knight a6 to here, is that going to be a bug? I'm going to still shoot for it. Okay, knight a6. On knight a6, I think I'll play rook a4 just to stop knight b4. Okay, that's not being played. I'm going to get my bishop outside here, e3. If my opponent isn't careful, this pawn could get here. Okay, I think it's best to stop that knight from getting to b4 altogether. I don't want to have any worries of like knight c2 or knight d3. Alright, so now this move comes with tempo. So while this is an awkward looking move, now I could take this guy out. I'm giving up my good bishop, but I am getting a pawn. These guys are doubled. Not isolated quite yet, but they're certainly backward, and I don't know that they're really targetable, since my bishop is controlling b8. But you know what, at the same time, where is he even going? I don't think I have any worry of this knight bothering my bishop controls here. I'm considering h3 at this point. h3 and bishop takes knight are my two candidate moves. I'm going to take the knight. I don't see a reason not to. And, oh, that must have been a mouse slip. Yeah, I'll accept that one. Yeah, it was definitely a mouse slip. So my follow-up is not going to be to grab that pawn. I want to make sure I preserve my bishop so he's controlling b8. I don't want to have any pressure against these guys. He's going nowhere. It's pawn on a6, so I'm just looking to castle. I may even want to consider king to d2, just to bring him a little bit closer if need be. He can be around to defend my doubled b pawns. But certainly have to be a bit cautious of knight jumping in here. These guys offset one another, c3 and f6, so king d2, rook h to a1. I think it's worthwhile to do that. I'm just not going to move him. On bishop here, then I'll grab the pawn, because maybe a5 is going to be a pain and that pawn lives. Bishop d8, I just grab. Okay, he's got to go. And do I really need to worry about doubled pawns? No. Let's just double rooks here. Maybe now I could consider knight to e1 if I wanted to preserve my structure, and regroup the knight to d3. So even if these guys are attacked, I'll be there to defend with my king, which is ideal because he's close to the center, and he serves a useful role in just defending potential attacks, but it's quite difficult to even see how black gets into a position to attack my weaknesses. Whereas these guys will fall. Well, at least the a6 pawn, and probably a7. I don't see how you defend that. Okay, I think e5 is being prepped. I think I should first secure this square. Again, he's going nowhere. So in the event of bishop takes, pawn takes, e5, I can take twice. 1 or 2 squares. I'll just go 2. I don't see any great difference between these 2 squares. We're about even on time. I think in some lines, if I'm castled, bishop h2 takes away a potential flight square for my king, but that's not the case here. I'm doing this move more for, like, I don't want h5, h4 with tempo, some tempo type moves like that. I think it's finally time to just crash through on this pawn. Get to the 7th rank, and I could even consider b5. And then I'll have a passed c-pawn, a connected passed c-pawn. I don't see any reason to not follow through and grab that guy. I'm going to do it. On the 7th rank, so this bishop's now pinned. So I'm threatening bishop to d6. Threatening the rook right now. Bishop to d6. I'm up 2 pawns now, okay? Simplifying even more. Probably have to get out of the pin. I'm seeing the road to victory here. It's king, well, there's going to be many at this point, but I think king c3. There's no fear of any passed pawns being created by force on the black side. My rook is ideally placed. I'm thinking about just b5. b5 takes, and then king b4, and then grab the pawn. This bishop has to be super annoying. Just get my king involved. There might be e5 at this point. Yeah, there is. Ooh. Why didn't I consider that more? I should have not even allowed that. Like, I don't even want this rook to think about getting active. Alright, well, I shouldn't have allowed that. This is what I'm going to do. King a5, b4, and then I'm taking on this square. I think b4 would be a good move here. Let's see if my opponent comes up with it. Okay, now my bishop is back to life. I think that was an instance where black does well to keep the tension, because now he's back to controlling b8, so I will take this guy out. I thought better was b4. Although, no, I could take it and then return to c3 to defend b2. I'm just trying to make sure that this rook doesn't get active. I don't want any of black's pieces to get active, and this rook is doing a good job in restricting the king. The bishop restricts the rook, and before my bishop can get locked out with f4, let's just make sure he'll still be seen. His presence will be felt on the black side. Bishop to e5. King takes b5. c6, c7. King c6. If I have my pawn on c7, though, the rook is no longer defending these squares and cutting the king off. Less than 20. Okay. I don't see any reason not to grab this guy. And any trades are going to be wins. Anything better than that? I don't think so. Just push my pawn, king a6, and run the other pawn, or maybe not so fast. I'll go b4 first, king a5, and then b4. King here. Oh. There's going to be a passed pawn. No, there isn't. Okay, now this. No, I don't. I could just block. Threatening, well, not mate because my pawn's pinned, but now it's close to mate. Push. I'm getting a queen next. Where's the mate? Somewhere. Close. Alright, my opponent lost on time. Let's go back. Good game. The first concern I had here was, well, you know what I'm going to be, well, this is what you'll have to be content with, it seems. If you're going to exchange queens like this, I will be getting in the b5 move by force, or making your knight's deployment a bit awkward. Like if you're trying to stop b5 with a6, b4 still happens, knight d7, I could still play b5 because you're not in time to get the rook out of the pin on the a8 square on the a file. So another approach that you could consider is queen c7. On queen c7 I have bishop to f4, queen takes bishop, queen takes pawn, and I get the rook next. So you could go with queen c7, bishop f4, queen to c8. It looks passive, but I'll have to move my queen again before I get this b5 idea in, and in the meantime you could try to prep an e5 advance. That is another direction to go in. Once I got to this position right here, well, I felt pretty good. Your pieces are well placed over, well, I don't know well placed, but they seem natural enough, right? Knight f6, bishop outside your pawn chain as well. Your knight is certainly the awkward one, though. And that's kind of tough there. After castles, I take that knight out, and the alternative is what exactly? Instead of castling, if you're moving the knight to b8, I could take him and then play rook takes a7. It's kind of tough. Nothing is standing out to me that's so great on the black side. Like a certain plan, having difficulty coming up with something good for the black side. Yeah, I don't know. E5 is the only break you could try to look for, but I have too good a control over it with my bishop, knight, and pawn. And these guys, they just turn out to be too passive. This has to be really annoying, the bishop controlling on b8. So I think it's all kind of coming back to maybe the decision to trade queens or not. I think you kind of have to go in this direction. I'm not certain, but it's certainly I'm not certain, but it feels like you maybe can't be taking the queen like this. This is very good. If I could get the b5 move in, I'll no longer, what sort of situation would I find myself in? One where I don't no longer have to work with doubled pawns. Not that they're a great liability, but I eliminate it. I'm no longer working with double pawns, and I have free play for my rook. Yeah, I think queen c7 is going to be the other one to be considering. It's really a long road ahead as soon as you get in this position without the queens. I'm not sure if maybe pawn takes. I'm looking at a different, no, pawn takes, your bishop's dead. I get my knight into e5 and then c4, and who knows what other great squares he could be jumping into, a5 or d6 sometime. So, yeah, you have the bishop here, but it's not really going to be enough with these rooks. There's just nothing you could do. They were so weak you couldn't even defend them, so. And I'm not sure if it really even matters at this point. I don't know that there was a great follow-up again. I think it's really coming back to as far as the queen trade. It's already lost. It's way lost at this point, but still, I think keeping the tension, though, I guess eventually you're going to have to make a capture after b4 and he's secure. This is back on. Tough position. I mean, unless I'm screwing up here, it's going to be, it should be a win. Okay, and let me just look at this last pawn structure thing. Pawn takes. Oh, yeah, for some reason I was thinking you were going to get a passed pawn. And, well, I guess you could. If you take with the f-pawn and then I recapture, you could push f4 or h4. He'll be passed. I'll be there to stop him, but there is a way. I think earlier in the game I was saying there's no way that by force black can be forcing through a passed pawn. I'm mistaken with that, with this particular structure. So after g4, maybe in some more critical positions, this is something that will play a key role. Not the case here, but with g4, f takes g. If you're taking with your f pawn, preserving your h pawn, then it looks like you're going to be getting a passed pawn since you're controlling h4. I can't meet f takes g4 with h4 myself. Okay. Good game. Let me close out of this one.